The Zephyrian warfleet descended upon mining station Omega-7 like vengeful spirits, their crystalline ships gleaming with lethal intent. Commander Vexthal had studied the intelligence reports thoroughly. A remote human outpost with minimal defenses, staffed by perhaps 30 soft-skinned creatures. It would be a simple harvest operation. "Begin the assault," Vexthal commanded, his 4 eyes tracking the small, unassuming station orbiting the asteroid field. The humans had been expanding too rapidly, claiming territories that rightfully belonged to the Zephyrian Empire. This would send a message. The first wave of plasma bolts struck the station's outer hull. Vexthal expected immediate surrender, perhaps frantic distress calls pleading for mercy. Instead, his communications officer turned to him with confusion etched across his crystalline features. "Commander, they're broadcasting music." "Music?" From the speakers came a thunderous, primitive sound, what humans called heavy metal. The driving rhythm seemed to pulse through space itself, and Vexthal felt an inexplicable chill run down his chitinous spine. "Sir, their defensive systems are activating," reported the tactical officer. "But the energy readings, they don't match our intelligence." Through the view screen, Vexthal watched as the mining station transformed. What had appeared to be simple excavation equipment began to shift and reconfigure. Massive drilling platforms rotated to face the Zephyrian fleet, their industrial plasma cutters now aimed at the attackers. "Those aren't mining tools," whispered the navigation officer. "They're weapons." The first human counterattack came not from conventional military hardware, but from a repurposed asteroid processor. The beam that lanced out was designed to slice through solid rock at the molecular level. It carved through 3 Zephyrian fighters like they were made of vapor. "Evasive maneuvers," Vexthal shouted, but it was too late. The humans had turned their entire operation into a fortress, using equipment that could reshape planetary surfaces as weapons of war. From the station's communication array came a human voice, calm and almost cheerful. "Howdy there, folks. Y'all picked the wrong day to mess with Omega-7. We got work to do." The speaker was Chief Engineer Sarah Chen, though Vexthal didn't know it. What he did know was that more defensive systems were coming online, systems that hadn't existed in any intelligence report. Cargo haulers launched from the station's bays, but they weren't fleeing. They were laden with mining charges, turning themselves into guided missiles. "Sir, they're using industrial explosives as ammunition." "How is this possible?" Vexthal demanded. "They're miners, not warriors." But he was learning what the galaxy would soon discover. Humans didn't see much difference between the two. The same determination that drove them to tunnel through hostile asteroids, to work in the vacuum of space, to extract resources from the most dangerous environments. That same relentless spirit made them formidable opponents. A communication burst from the station made Vexthal's translator crackle with what sounded like laughter. "Jenkins, fire up the rock crusher. Let's show these pretty crystal boys what we do to things that get in our way." The rock crusher turned out to be a gravitational manipulator designed for moving asteroids. When aimed at the Zephyrian flagship, it created a localized gravity well that crumpled their shields like paper. "Commander," his tactical officer cried, "we're losing ships to construction equipment." That was when the reinforcements arrived. Not human military vessels, but more mining ships, dozens of them responding to Chen's emergency beacon. Each one bristled with improvised weapons, their crews treating the battle like just another day at the office. "This is Prospector 6, came another human voice. "Heard you boys were having some trouble. We just finished blasting through a nickel-iron deposit the size of a city. Y'all want a demonstration?" The combined human fleet moved with the coordination of workers who had spent years navigating the dangerous asteroid fields together. They used their mining expertise to devastating effect, herding the Zephyrian ships into dead-end asteroid corridors and then sealing them in with controlled explosions. Vexthal watched in horror as his superior fleet was systematically dismantled by what amounted to a construction crew. The humans fought with improvised weapons, crude tactics, and an absolute refusal to acknowledge that they were outgunned. "Sir," his communications officer said quietly, "perhaps we should consider retreat. We outnumber them 3-1. "Yes, sir, but they're treating this like overtime work." As if to prove the point, Sarah Chen's voice crackled over the comm again. "All right, people, let's wrap this up. I got a poker game at 1800 hours, and Martinez owes me 50 credits." The final blow came when the humans activated what they called The Big Drill, a planet cracker designed for deep core mining. The beam that emerged could punch through a moon. It took out 6 Zephyrian cruisers in a single shot. "We surrender," Vexthul finally transmitted, his voice breaking. "Please, we surrender!" The response came with infuriating human casualness. "Well, all right then. Y'all can skedaddle on out of here, but next time maybe call ahead before dropping by. We're working folk." As the surviving Zephyrian ships limped away, Vexthul tried to understand what had just happened. His fleet had been defeated by humans who genuinely seemed to view galactic warfare as an inconvenient interruption to their workday. Later, when the incident was reported to the Zephyrian High Command, the official statement read, "Recommend immediate reclassification of human civilian installations as military fortresses. Their industrial capability appears indistinguishable from weapons of mass destruction." But the real lesson learned was simpler. Humans didn't need to be soldiers to be dangerous. They just needed to be human. Back on Omega 7, Sarah Chen marked the incident in her log. Hostile contact resolved. Minimal damage to equipment. Remind whoever's in charge to send us some proper defense systems. These jury-rigged jobs are giving me a headache. The galaxy would remember the day a mining station defeated a war fleet. But for the humans of Omega 7, it was just Tuesday.